Angelman Syndrome Genotypes, sponsored by the Foundation for Angelman Syndrome Therapeutics. Everyone inherits their chromosomes from their parents. The chromosomes carry genes, which are coding instructions for making proteins. An important example of this is the UBE3A protein, which is made from the UBE3A gene located on chromosome 15. People living with Angelman syndrome, or AS for short, do not have enough functional UBE3A protein in their brains. Typically, each person has 2 copies of the UBE3A gene, one from each parent. The one from the father is called paternal, and the one from the mother is called maternal. In all people, the paternal UBE3A gene is silenced or turned off in brain cells, a process called imprinting, so the maternal UBE3A gene is responsible for making all the UBE3A protein in the brain. Now, changes to the maternal UBE3A gene can result in less or no UBE3A protein in the brain, or the UBE3A protein that is produced may not work properly. These genetic changes are grouped by type and are called genotypes. There are 5 main genotypes that cause AS. Knowing the genotype of each person living with AS is important. Although each individual living with AS is unique, people with the same genotype may have certain behaviors or characteristics in common. Another reason for identifying the genotype is that some genotypes have a higher chance of running in families. Doctors and genetic counselors can use this information to determine the chance of other family members inheriting AS. Finally, genotype is often a criteria for participating in research. So knowing the genotype is a key element in determining eligibility for clinical studies investigating potential AS therapies. Uniparental disomy, or UPD for short, occurs in about 5% of people living with AS. Individuals with this genotype have 2 copies of paternal chromosome 15 and no maternal chromosome 15. Since both paternal copies of the UBE3A gene are turned off in the brain and there is no maternal UBE3A gene, individuals living with UPD-AS have no active UBE3A protein in the brain. In addition, individuals living with UPD-AS make extra proteins from several other genes that sit next to UBE3A and are turned on in both the paternal chromosome 15. These extra proteins may lead to a lower risk of seizures and higher risk of obesity in individuals living with UPD-AS as compared to individuals living with deletion or mutation AS. Usually, UPD-AS genotype is a sporadic event that only occurred during the development of the sperm or egg, and other family members do not have an increased chance of inheriting AS. Rarely, parents can have a chromosome rearrangement in their cells that increases the likelihood that additional children will have UPD-AS. For more information about Angelman syndrome and its genotypes, visit the Foundation for Angelman Syndrome Therapeutics, also called FAST, at cureangelman.org. For specific questions, reach out to FAST's genetic counselor.